Have you ever heard of the advice that to get good at art, you need to be studying from a master's? Well, look no further, because we're going to be studying from one of the masters. Meet Evan Lee. Evan Lee is a concept artist, comic artist, a very skilled artist who's been in the digital art space for more than a decade already. He has work experiences such as being an art director in a PC game company all the way in Taiwan, to now owning his own art studio called the Evan Lee Art Studio, wherein he works with big name clients such as Sony, Paramount, and Ubisoft, just to name a few. And then there's me. Hi, I'm Dove. I'm a teeny tiny college art student who's trying to get into the industry by dipping her toes in it, her wibbly dibbly toes, with whatever work I have to show for it. These are old works as well. I need to spice up my portfolio with the skill sets that I all have right now that's far better than what I'm showing here. But right now I'm focused on two things, which is comic art, concept art, but mainly comic art. So why are we studying Evan Lee? Well, because as you can see here, not only is he an amazing concept artist, but he's managed to take his art style into a sequential art form as well. Look at his comics! That's crazy! So today, we're gonna be taking a look at this behemoth of an artist, breaking him down, tearing him into pieces, bit by bit, with whatever free resources he's blessed us with in the internet. So in this video, we're gonna be doing 3 things. Yes. Number 1, study and analyze. Number 2, paint my own piece. And number 3, see if I can apply it in my comic. And the first one being is studying. I know. Hold on. We need to study to learn and gain knowledge. So the way we're going to be doing this is we're going to take one of his videos, which is a speed paint videos that showcases how he paints. Then we're going to try to learn his techniques, the way he uses his brushes, what type of brushes he even uses, how he manipulates his values, his colors, his edges, how he edges, all of which to find out how he's able to create such beautiful, amazing, realistic looking paintings, but at the same time integrate it with the art style that he likes, which includes a lot of anime girls, so it's technically semi-realism. Yay! After we've learned and taken down notes, we're gonna be doing applications. So while I analyze the video, I'm also gonna be following along one of his speed paints, just so that I could learn it better, because it's hard to learn when you're just watching, especially it's something like art where it's more on skill base. I feel like I would be able to understand better if I were to do it as I watch, like a tutorial video. Except it's not a tutorial video because he's just painting. It's kind of close. I'm going to try and go over how he paints his subjects and how he's able to depict texture to make them as convincingly realistic as possible. First things first is the brushes. I notice he uses a mix of 2 brushes most of the time, which is a soft airbrush and a brush that has a hard edge and a soft edge at the end. So for those Krita users like me, I don't think we have any brushes that is available currently, and I couldn't find any brushes like that in the internet for Krita. So my workaround here is I use a lot of lasso to have a hard edge and then a soft edge at the same time. But what you could also do is just paint with a hard brush and then just blend the edge of where you want it to be softer edge, or paint over it with a soft airbrush since it's already going to be a part of your workflow for the rest of the painting. I noticed that he would use a big size soft airbrush to lay down colors in a wide area quickly, and then the hard edge is what he would use to have a better definition of the shapes of the object or the subject that he's painting. He'd also be using the soft airbrushes to go over an area that he's already painted on to adjust its values or colors. Then I also noticed that he would start with the midtones and then he paints the light on top of it rather than going straight for the shadows, because I feel like all of the artists right now, their usual workflow process is base color and then define it with shadows. Here I noticed that he would put down the midtones and then he would start painting the lights on top of the color to define its form. So then it was very interesting. It was a change of pace, especially for me. But I liked it. I really did. I'll show you later when I started using it in my own works, both in comic and the normal art. After he's defined it with the light, that's when he would start placing the shadows. I feel like this is a great way to start defining folds and where things would overlap. One thing that I took note of that isn't necessarily just from him, but I've seen it across multiple artists already, is that the value range would completely depend on the local value or the color of what the material is. So, for example, if you're painting something that is metallic, its local value wouldn't be that prominent from the painting, as its value range and its color range is going to be huge since it's going to be reflecting a lot of light and colors. Unlike when you're painting something matte, for example, human skin, then most likely the local color is going to remain in the painting and prominent there. It's not going to change as drastically unless if there's like a harsh light shining on it. And then on the last steps, he's going to be painting the highlights and then the final details. So he will be going over the whole painting to change some colors, lighten up some areas, darken up some areas. It's really great. I feel like that's basically what rendering is simplified. So that was great. Next thing we're going to be doing is by applying the techniques we've learned, the knowledge that we've gained, and the notes that we've taken by painting something of my own. Yes.
So fun to do. It was a quick 2-hour drawing because I just wanted to see if I learned anything from the short breakdown I've done, and I think I did, so yay. My major takeaway from this was definitely the management of the edges, the use of the separate brushes, and I don't know, in general, it was just pretty fun. It was a fun process. It felt so free and not restricting. Like from what I said earlier, I'd start loose with just the colors, mid-tone value of those colors, and then from there, I started slowly building up the values, and then I just started playing around with the render stage using the edge and brushwork I talked about earlier. It was pretty fun. Yeah. And again, I think the best part of this is the process and how fun it was. It just genuinely felt like I could make something out of just a few blobs of colors. And seeing that come to life, it's so satisfying.
The third thing that we're going to be doing is quite optional. It's optional for you guys. It's kind of like one of those hidden options away in a menu or something that you toggle on manually, which is I'm going to be applying his techniques to my own comic work. Yes, comic. You heard that right. I'm going to be applying this to my comics. Yay! So by the end of the video, I'm going to let you guys know if I'm going to be keeping his techniques into my regular comic working process. So yeah. So now we're in the optional section, the last part of the video, wherein I start applying his techniques to some of my comic panels. If anyone's watched my previous video on how I make my webtoon, you'll know that my workflow process involves grayscale and then I color. But for here, we'd go straight to coloring. And it's very messy at the start, but that's what Evanly does from what I've seen. With a lot of his speed paints, he just places down a lot of colors and lights and then start refining them. So I think this is good because it's good to be messy at the beginning, just to define where you would want the colors to be or the light source to be. It's a great way to experiment at the beginning, early stages of the painting. And I think that's what he's trying to achieve. So for the second episode of my comic, is I'm going to be laying down a lot of colors and values from the beginning, regardless of how messy they are. And then I'll start defining them with hard brushes, just like what we've been doing, just so that the shapes will be clear and readable. You can see here, that's what I've been doing. Some will be just pictures because I couldn't record them, as some I did on live. If you guys are interested in me going live here on YouTube, do let me know because I've been enjoying going on live to paint because it gets me locked in. So yeah, if you're going to be asking me for my final verdict, will I be employing this in my regular comic workflow process? Yes! Oh my goodness, it was so fun, guys. You have to try this out. You need to try to paint like Evanly because it's so relaxing. I feel like it removes the rigidity of my typical workflow whenever I paint, of like having to define the shapes early on, define the colors early on. I feel like a child. So relaxing. It takes the pressure off of me whenever I paint. So yeah, I'm going to be applying this regularly now in my comic. So yes, if this video was helpful, I hope you guys do try it out. And if you do, please tag me or something in one of my socials. It's just DVMP Comics across all social media platform except for Facebook. I don't think I have Facebook. I think I have Twitter, but I don't really use it. But yeah, I use Instagram and Threads though. So if this video was helpful and you did get to learn something from it, try to apply it. And then if you do, let me know. I'm active on social media somewhat. But yeah, guys, don't forget to read my webcomic. It's My Girlfriend is a Samurai. It's linked down below in the description. It's a comedic slice of life. More focus on the comedy and slice of life rather than the romance, regardless of what the title is. But yeah, I hope this video was helpful, and I'll be seeing you in the next one. Bye!